Hello my fellow friends and YouTubers, this is Kurt and welcome back to the Kurt's Place channel here on YouTube. This is going to be another Las Vegas video that I'm going to have for you. This time we're going to be talking about Let's Go to Vegas, 7 steps for having fun. What I'm going to talk about in this video is I'm going to discuss some things to do when you're planning a trip to go to Las Vegas. These are things to do when you're booking your trip to Las Vegas. Not so much in Las Vegas itself, but when you want to go to Vegas, what sort of things do you have to consider when you're booking your vacation? That's what you're going to find out in this video here. I also want to mention that if you want to go ahead and click that subscribe button, feel free to do so that we can keep up with all my current videos. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave those in the comments section below. And as always, if you like what you see, go ahead and click that like button as well. Okay. Now, what we're going to discuss the first step is going to be your budget. One of the things you have to determine when you're going to go to Las Vegas is what is your budget going to be? Now, I can tell you when I go to Las Vegas. Now, this is just the money that I spend in Vegas. Doesn't include hotels. And it doesn't include airlines. This is just the money I spend in Las Vegas itself. I usually like to carry about $250 per day that I'm in Las Vegas. So an easy way to keep in mind is if you multiply $250 times the number of days you're going to stay in Las Vegas, that's a pretty good idea of how to get the budget that you're going to want to spend when you're in Las Vegas. Now, the budget that you have that you take with you covers things such as tours that you might want to go on. It covers your gambling budget, nightclubs and drinks, things like that. It also covers things such as souvenirs, various things that come up, eating expenses, buffets, having photos taken, all sorts of things that come up during your trip. That this is money that you want to budget have your $250 a day for. Now you're going to find that some days you may use $250, some days you may use less. And what you can do is, if you find you're not spending all your money on your vacation when you're there, you can always bring some of that money home if you don't need to use it all. Or if you find that your expenses are doing a little bit better than you thought, or maybe you made a little bit of money, have some fun. Maybe go to Top of the World restaurant, have a really nice dinner and things like that. There's videos on my channel that actually will show you some of these different things you can do. If you go to the Sky Jump Las Vegas, that's another thing I did when I won a little money. I did the Top of the World restaurant when I won a little money. That's one of the nice things about Vegas. If you win a little money, remember, you can have some fun with the money that you win. But just remember, when you're planning your budget, I usually take $250 times the number of days I'm going to go, and that gives me a pretty good idea how much money to have on my person when I go there. Because the fact of the matter is, you want to make sure you have enough money to have a good time, but not come up short on your funds either. And also remember, you can also keep a little logbook if you want to use your debit card and things like that to access your cash when you're in Vegas. You can also keep a little logbook as well if you don't want to carry a lot of cash around with you when you go to Vegas. Okay. Now the number two to determine is where you're going to stay. Now this is a separate expense. Now the amount of money that you spend on where you're going to stay, that's going to be greatly determined by what sort of hotel are you interested in. Are you going for something a high caliber hotel, like you're going for the Wynn, or you're going for Bellagio, or are you going for a more budget conscious property, like maybe some places on the Fremont Street Experience, or maybe you want to stay at Circus, or you want to stay at Flamingo. Now I usually like to stay at Flamingo in Las Vegas. I basically stay in accommodations. They're not the cheapest accommodations in the world, but I really like the hotel that I stay in. Now to give you an idea how much it costs. This year I actually booked my reservation through Southwest Airlines Vacations on a package deal, and I'm going to explain that to you a little later on in the video. But keep in mind that the hotels were ranging in prices anywhere from $70, $80 and up. Now, something to keep in mind: when you know when you want to go to Vegas, once you have your budget determined and you know when you want to go to Vegas, the one thing you want to determine is what is the best time for you to go to Vegas. That's a question that I get a lot. Now, I can tell you, when I go during the summer months, usually I get a pretty good deal on hotel rooms and things like that. Now, the one thing to keep in mind, you want to do some research on your hotels and things before you're going to go, because if you have a convention in town, or you have something like the Super Bowl, or you have something like March Madness, New Year's, things like that, they can greatly affect the price of your room charge. So that's one thing you want to keep in mind. So you may have to end up adjusting your time accordingly when you're going to go, based on what's going on in Vegas with conventions and things like that. That's something to keep in mind too when you're going. Remember the hotel that you're going to stay at. The cost of things can vary greatly depending on where you're staying, and also what time of year you're going and are there any conventions. So remember, when you're checking your hotels, make sure you check the dates first along with how much the hotel is going to cost. That's another thing that will help you determine where you want to stay and what you're comfortable with when you go to Las Vegas. Okay. Now, number 3 on this list is going to be airports to fly out of. Now, one of the reasons why this is important, because different airports and things like that. For example, I live in Maryland, and we have 3 different airports near us. We have Ronald Reagan Airport, we have Washington National, and we also have Dulles. Ronald Reagan is actually considered, it's Ronald Reagan National Airport. That's actually the same. Ronald Reagan National Airport is one. We have Dulles, which is another one. And then we also have another one which is called BWI. Now the locations these are in different places. The Ronald Reagan Airport in Washington D.C. That's not far from Washington D.C. If you go to Dulles Airport, that's just outside Virginia. If you want to go to that place as well, not too far from Manassas and things like that. That's where Dulles Airport is. If you want to go to BWI Airport, that's basically outside Baltimore. Now, to give an example why some of these, it's important to look at the different airports. Your airline fares and things like that can vary. Now, Southwest Airlines, for example, is a good example. I always like to fly Southwest Airlines. When I check my tickets for Southwest Airlines, I notice that if I try to fly out of Dulles or National, the rates were actually about $100 more a ticket versus flying out of BWI was about $100 less a ticket. So even though the airports all offer, in my area, all offer Southwest Airlines flights, keep in mind one airport could be cheaper than another. So the one thing to keep in mind is if you can fly out of a cheaper airport, if you can get to the airport easily. For example, if you want to drive your car and use the Easy Pass parking, which is what I do when I go to BWI, sometimes that's not such a bad thing, because remember, if you're getting a cheaper flight, you can use some of that money for other things, such as maybe getting a little bit nicer hotel or allowing yourself some more money for your budget when you go out to Las Vegas. So remember, the airport you fly out of is something very important to consider. In your area, make sure you check all the different airports that you have to fly out of in addition to the rates that they're charging for the flights going to Vegas. I think you're going to find that they can vary quite a bit. Now, the number 4 thing is going to be the airline to book. Now, when you're going to Las Vegas, one of the things to consider is you have quite a few airlines to fly when you go to Las Vegas. You have Frontier Airlines, you have Southwest Airlines, you have Spirit Airlines, among other carriers such as American and different carriers. Now, what you're going to find when you're booking airlines to Las Vegas, airlines can change rates considerably based on several factors when you're booking your airline tickets. The most important thing I can suggest to you when you're booking your trip to Vegas is try to book your airline tickets 2 to 3 months in advance. If you can book your airline tickets 2 to 3 months in advance, sometimes you tend to get a pretty good rate when you do that versus waiting closer to when the flight is ready to go. Now, keep in mind, there may be specials and things that they have that they're offering to the airlines, maybe closer to your flight time. But the thing to keep in mind is, if you want to choose your airline, one of the things I was going to suggest you do is I prefer to fly on Southwest. Now, I have flown on Spirit Airlines, and Spirit Airlines has been good as well. But what you're going to find is, another one is JetBlue. You're going to find that the rates that they charge for different airlines can vary. Even though you're going to the same place, you're going to find the rates that the airlines charge can vary. Now, there's a number of things that cause these rates to vary. One of the things is, does your plane always look, when you're booking an airline to Vegas, any airline that you book, if the deal looks too good to be true, or it looks like a really, really good deal, make sure you read that small print. Do I have a nonstop flight? Do I have transfers in between my flight? That's something to keep in mind, because transfers and things can extend your travel time considerably when you're going to Las Vegas. One of the things I like about Southwest is I use a direct flight when I go out to Southwest Airlines. I like to take a direct flight. It's a nonstop flight. Now, it's going to cost a little more to go nonstop versus the one that has stops. But the thing to keep in mind if you have stops, if you're going to Las Vegas for the first time, if this is your first time going to Vegas, and remember, this is the Let's Go to Vegas, the First Timers Guide. Remember, if you have to transfer flights and things like that, you always have a possibility of having a problem when you're doing the transfer process. Maybe your plane leave that you're getting on leaves late, and then your connecting flight, you have a hard time with your connecting flights. it just adds a few extra things in your trip that you might not want to have to worry about if you're going to Vegas for the first time. So my advice is go ahead and try to book a nonstop flight if you can. Now remember, always read the small print on any of the airlines that you're booking with. For example, some of the airlines now charge extra now for bag fees. Even if you have a carry-on bag now, some of the airlines are actually charging extra for carry-on bags. So always make sure you read all the small print when you're booking your tickets. Booking an airline ticket it's not a hard thing to do, but you want to make sure you try to get the best deal that you can. So my advice is try to book your airline tickets 2 to 3 months ahead of time. And I think you're going to find you're going to get some pretty good savings as well. Okay. Now, the one thing that I also want to mention too, number 4, I mentioned about airlines to book. You want to make sure when you're booking airlines that you make sure that you read over and this is also accounts for hotels. Make sure you read over what their cancellation policy is. Some of the cancellation policies are very strict on some of these hotels and things, and also airline tickets as well. So you want to make sure you read all the small print about cancellation policies. What sort of things do you have? Do you have to have insurance for your to cancel your reservations? Some places actually have optional insurance you can get if you want to have the ability to cancel your flight very close to the time you're going to leave. Always keep that in mind when you're booking as well. Okay. Now the number 6 thing that we're going to talk about is when you're in Las Vegas, once you get to Las Vegas, one of the things I highly recommend that you do is definitely look for coupon books and things like that when you're going to Vegas. Coupon books can save you a lot of money. Now you're going to find that when you're in McCarran Airport, sometimes they'll actually have coupon books in the airport, but also when you go to your hotel a lot of times, in your lobby, in the hotel lobby, you can look for coupon books in the hotel lobby. You also look for coupon books in your hotel room when you check in. And sometimes when you're checking into your room, you'll also find that there are there's coupon books in the little sleeve that they give you that carries your card when you're going to go to your room. Sometimes there's actually coupons in that little sleeve that they give you to hold your keys for your room as well. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Also, you want to make sure that you use players cards. That's going to help out with your budget when you go to Vegas. Sometimes they'll give you extra perks and things for having a players card when you go to Vegas. So always use a player's card when you go to Vegas. A lot of times if you're signing up for the first time, they'll give you perks right off the bat without even doing anything. I got a free buffet at one time for signing up, and then I also got free tickets for riding a high roller just for signing up for a player's card. Okay. Now the number 7 thing I'm going to recommend, this is very important. When you go to Las Vegas for your first time, always make sure you look at the Las Vegas magazine. Now this one I have is Your Guide to Everything Las Vegas. Now you're going to find inside this little guide here, you're going to find there's a lot of pages and things. There's things such as concerts and all sorts of things in here. If you want to book things, for example, like let's say you want to get tickets to your Las Vegas flight. Okay, they actually have a site in here for booking Vegas flights. Let me find it for you. Okay, let's see, it's right. Okay. Let's see. It should be on the back cover. I wanted to mention, there's also things, before I show this other thing to you, there's things such as maps and things like that inside here as well. This will show you maps and things about Las Vegas. You know, how to get around Las Vegas, all the different hotels, numbers and things like that. This is good if it's your first time in Vegas. You're going to find that Vegas is you get a real sensory overload when you're in Vegas, and that's one of the reasons why having these things going through this book can be really good. Now here's another example. When you go through this book, I don't have any tour sites in this magazine here, but let me show you one thing I do have. Remember I showed you how you can save money? Look at that. I got a $4 off coupon to the Adventure Dome theme park. Okay? I didn't even have to do anything. All I had to do is get this little magazine. And a lot of hotels and things like that will actually have the magazines and things like that in your room, so you can actually find out all sorts of different things to save when you're going to Las Vegas. Now, the main reason I put this guide together was I had a lot of people ask me, if I'm going to Las Vegas for the first time, what do I need to consider? And that's one of the reasons I wanted to put this video together for you. Now, if you have questions such as where can I eat, what type of hotel rooms can I stay at? What sort of things are there to do in Vegas? Fremont Street, other things, Hoover Dam. You can do all sorts of different things. You can do the Sky Jump Las Vegas. You can consult most of the videos. Just go to my channel, and you're going to find I have a lot of videos about Las Vegas. It'll tell you first do's and don'ts in Las Vegas, things to see in Las Vegas, Hoover Dam things, all sorts of different things that you want to do when you're in Las Vegas. And I think you're going to find between this guide and looking at everything on my channel, you're going to get a pretty good idea about how to plan going to Vegas for your first time. And also remember, there's a lot of other great sites on the internet as well, and also on YouTube as well that I've looked at that have also given me a lot of helpful advice as well. The main reason I wanted to bring you this video is just to keep this in mind when you're going to Las Vegas for yourself. And as always, I want to thank you for tuning in to the Kurt's Place channel. And also, when you're in Las Vegas, have a great time. And also remember, when you're going in the summertime, make sure you drink lots of water because it can get very hot. Okay, and as always, I want to thank you for visiting the channel. And I hope you have a great time in Las Vegas. And good luck to you. And maybe I'll see you there. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye now.